this universe, these precise laws that had to have interacted so perfectly, let alone nothingness to bring the universe into existence, it boggles the mind. So therefore, what our rationale is pointing us towards is that the source has to be alive. It has to be alive such that it has intelligence, a will, power, whatever you want to call it, energy, wisdom, far more greater than what we affirm for ourselves. Your mobile phone. You know by necessity within your life that if someone came along and said to you that mobile phone came back through chance and probability, it was lying in a junkyard and a tornado went through the junkyard and it all came together, you would say that's absurd because it goes against the laws of causality that I know of, that the entire world knows of and has always known. Well, that you can apply that now to the beginning of the universe, because the universe is far more complex. So there's a verse in the Quran that when one of the followers of our Prophet Muhammad, when he came across this, he said, that's the first time that faith came and settled into my heart. Faith was there, but this is when it really settled. The verse says, and we believe that the Quran are the very words of this source. Or were they created by nothing? Or did they create themselves? Or were they the creators of the universe? Nay, they have no certainty. What it's drawing our attention to is the following, Claire. Nothingness cannot bring about something. So therefore, something brought the order into being. We didn't bring ourselves into being, our mother and father did, and before them their mother and father. But that goes back a certain time. Neither did we bring the universe into existence because we're part of the universe, so we're part of the problem. There's only, and if we therefore deny God his obvious, or this source, its obvious recognition, God says they have no certainty. There's no certainty in the idea that God can, that a godless cause brought about the universe.
Is there no certainty in science?
No, we don't have a problem with science.
No, I'm not saying, I'm not going, this isn't like a me versus something. I'm just saying in the kind of the wider sense. I think this is the thing, isn't it? There's having walked around here today, it just seems so much of people kind of going, this is what I believe because of all these years ago, when everything began. We've been here longer, our religion's older. However, there's so much focus on that, and so little focus on everyone just working out how we can all get along.
That's a very good point. I mean,
and this is for me where it all starts to fall down, because ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, yes, this all matters to people individually. However, for me personally, what matters more is actually people finding a way to be able to live alongside each other.
Look, and fundamentally we do.
Yeah, no, I know.
Right?
I know.
Fundamentally, all human beings we recognize when we come together either as a couple, whether we're living in the middle of a jungle, being called a primitive tribe, or whether we're living in the most advanced civilizations, we know instinctually within us that we have to work together in a particular way. We have to establish moral truths, right? Now, these moral truths are implanted within every human being. You can call it the biological imperative if you want. Whatever you want to call it, it's there. If I lie and steal against my wife, it's not going to be conducive for our marriage, right?
No, it's not.
And it's obvious that when you come together as a community, the same rules apply, right?
Why is everything such a mess?
But here's the point. Those moral truths that were implanted within us, where do they come from if there is a source of all things? If there is no source of all things, there is no absolute good and absolute evil. Because if, for instance, Claire, you said, God forbid, you said, or I said to you, Claire, it's good for me to rape children. And you said, no, it's not. How would your truth be able to be proven against my truth?
Well, I suppose it's in the harm of people, isn't it? It's very much in that moment. Is it harming someone?
Precisely.
And that's just about harm, isn't it?
Precisely.
It's not really about where it all began and what we all believe. It's about just on a fundamental
Precisely.
level.
So on the fundamental level, we all share these truths. Where did these truths come from?
Why does it matter so much?
Because ultimately, if you have certain truths where later on down the line, and this is conceivable, like it's conceivable that you have a nation who believe, for instance, that it is part of their moral code of conduct to sacrifice children to their sun god, for instance.
Right.
And you have another civilization that says, no, that's wrong. how would you be able to prove to the civilization that takes children to be a good thing in sacrificing them to their gods? How would you be able to prove to them that you're right and they're wrong? What would be the means by which you would be able to?
Because we've already got a set code of conduct on sacrificing children.
But they already have one as well, right? Like, for instance, go back to the time of the Spanish conquistadors when they went over to South America,
Right.
where it was part of the Mayans' culture to actually sacrifice their children once a year or a certain number of times per year to their gods.
Far back there, aren't we, rather than here?
Sure, but I'm trying to put across a point here, right?
Okay.
The same principle can be applied to this world. Because look, for instance, hypothetically speaking, if you had those extremist Muslims known as ISIS, if they succeeded in taking over the land and they began killing people in a way which we would define, all of us, as barbaric, and we were saying to them that your way of life is wrong, and they said, no, our way of life is wrong, but the people who are saying that their way of life is better than ISIS did not believe in God, how would you be able to prove to them that you as a human being, because you're both human beings, how would you be able to prove to them that your moral compass is more true than their moral compass?
Well, we've got a whole societal infrastructure that's been set up to prove that we shouldn't be killing and sacrificing children, you would hope. It's not working very well at the minute.
But what if they said to you that our concept of good is true and your concept of good is false? How would you be able to prove it objectively? Not through, we feel that this is our way because collectively we've come to a conclusion that it is. They would say, well, collectively we've come to a conclusion that it is.
Is it hurting anyone, would be? So are the children happy to be sacrificed?
No.
This would be it, wouldn't it? You know,
sure, but
coming down to actually how we kind of go whether or not this is right and trying to say that their way is right.
Right, so what if they said, well, our way is right because we believe the sacrifice of some children doesn't hurt society? How would you be able to prove to them that your way of good is better than their way without hearkening to outside of yourself? Because it's essentially my word against yours or my society's word against your society's.
I suppose it's how much of this you believe is religion versus kind of societal kind of construct, isn't it?
You're missing the point. The fundamental point here is how you can prove your moral truth.
So it's about proof,
isn't it?
Well,
otherwise it's just.
Isn't it? It's about the law. Because I mean, I could essentially say one thing, I believe this, and you could say I believe that.
But the laws are also based upon a collective understanding of what is right and wrong.
Yeah.
So whether it's you who believes it or whether it's many yous who believe it, it still comes down to a collective subjective experience.
Yeah.
So how do you now prove to people who are other than yourself that your collective truth is more true than their collective truth if you do not believe in a source outside of yourself?
I don't know.
It's impossible.
But don't you know the truth? We were all born with the truth.
No, but how do you prove that your truth is more true than their truth?
Then it's actually trying to say that, you know what, look inside yourself. Each and every one of us.
No, you're missing the point, sir.
I'm not missing the point. Because
we're trying to prove.
Even in the world today, we still have children that are being sacrificed. And it's for a reason that happened back then, centuries ago. As in,
no, but you're missing the point. I'm trying to get across to my friend Claire here how it's possible to prove without a belief in God.
I'm so sorry.
You got to go. Okay, Claire, thank you for your time, my dear. Right? If you haven't read the Quran, we have a free copy just down there as you go out.
Okay.
Just let them know that Hamza.
Thank you very
No worries,
much.
Claire. Have a good day. Where's your friend? You better collect him before.
Oh no, he's not mine.
Oh, isn't he?
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
you know,
Oh, okay. Go. Sorry. Go on, bro.
my belief, all born with the truth.
Do you believe in God?
I believe in the Creator. People say God, I say the Creator. Because to me, there are many gods.
What do you mean there's many gods?
There are many gods that the fallen angels, the gods, aren't they?
How are they gods?
Because they taught man.
Sorry, before we get into this, what's your definition of God? How would you define what God is?
I see, okay, my definition of the creator is physical as well as spiritual.
I don't understand how that defines the creator. When you call it the creator, is one of the attributes of this creator has to be the attribute of creating, right?
Yeah.
When this creator brought the universe into existence, did it have another creator alongside it? No. So, in that sense, if we're looking at God as the greatest conceivable being,
where did the word God came from in the beginning?
If you just allow me to develop the argument, whatever you want to call it, God, Allah, Jehovah, Creator, Fashioner, whatever proper noun you want to give it, right? If it is the only source of all things, that thing has to be the greatest conceivable thing that we can imagine. Because before the universe had existed, it was only this being that existed, what you call the creator.
Yeah.
That for me is God, the creator, the fashioner, the former, whatever you want to call it, bro.
Okay. Why I say...
So when you said that there are other gods, that threw me.
Okay. That's fine. I see other gods, we can class ourselves as gods. Yeah? We can create things, but we cannot breathe the breath of life in objects.
Do you think that this creator deserves any type of recognition by us as created things? Given that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this creator.
Totally agree with you.
Oh, brilliant.
But go ahead.
So no, go on. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
But you know what? For me, the creator is beyond the word God. There is much.
I mean, this creator is unfathomably powerful. It's unfathomably knowledgeable. Would you agree with that?
I'm a designer by trade.
Amazing.
And for me, this is how I view the creator. There's a spiritual realm where all ideas are formed. Oh no, not formed, where ideas are. Now for us as a human being and the creator goes to find this has to be first spiritual, because
what has to be spiritual, sir?
Spiritual.
We have to be spiritual.
We have to be spiritual. So as the creator to go there. Then to make what is spiritual come into the physical realm, and we also and the creator has to be physical. Make sense?
To a certain extent, yeah. Go on.
Right. So the only thing that we don't have, or much more than that, we don't have a greater spiritual sense of understanding than which the creator have. But we have a spiritual sense of understanding that enable us to create this, to create this.
Yep.
But we don't have the sense of understanding, the spiritual sense of understanding to breathe life into an object.
Into another object. Okay.
Into another object. So that's why I said the creator.
Can I ask you a question based on that then? Do you believe that this creator that gave us the ability, which you define as being that spiritual ability to create, do you believe that that creator would give us that ability, that spiritual ability to create, and not tell us what our purpose is when we recognize that that which we create is created for purposes? Like, for instance, those headphones around your neck, that came with a manual, I presume, right? So the spiritual being that brought that thing into existence brought it about for a purpose.
But the manual is in us. We were born with the manual. Unfortunately...
What do you mean we were born with a manual? So the thing that brought that thing into existence, did it produce a manual so that it can understand it and we can understand how to use it?
Because human beings produce a manual for objects, animate objects.
Yes.
The creator don't produce a manual.
Why?
The manual is in us.
Okay.
We were born with the manual.
Right.
The difference is, sorry to interrupt.
No.
The difference is we were born in a world that man thinks that they are above the Creator. So they say, this is what you should do. This is what you should do.
Okay, so
this is what you should become.
So that man, those men who brought these notions into existence, that this is what you should do, this is how you should behave. Can those things be Can those things be good and evil?
Yes.
Yes.
Totally.
Good. Now, given that, though, we acknowledge as an obvious, I think hopefully you'll agree with this.
Oh, you're right. How are you?
Yes, I'm good.
My friend is here somewhere. Yeah.
Given that we acknowledge that things that we create all have purposes, what about the Creator that brought all of the things in the universe into existence, including ourselves, and gave us the ability to know up to a point about what is good and what is bad. But beyond that point, when we begin to do things that are good and evil, why would He not produce a manual to give to us so that we better ourselves? Why would He just allow us to get to a point and then say,
but the manual is in us, and I'll explain why I say the manual is in us.
No, before you do that, when you come to explain what this manual is, that is within us, can you please explain how far that manual goes in explaining the evil and good that takes place in the world?
Okay. I'll ask you a question. No, I couldn't ask you a question. I'll tell you. I came close to killing someone. Physically, I came close to killing someone. And before I did the act, I saw two ways. One, what happens when I kill someone. Two, what happens if I don't kill someone. That was the manual.
Inside you, right?
Inside of me.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. But the one that sticks with me, and this is over 20 years ago, is still the act of what happens if I do it.
Yeah.
20 years later, I'm driving down from my mom's home. I started to cry in my car. And then, you know what came into myself? The simplest thing is the hardest thing for man to understand, which is we need each other, to have humility and understanding for each other. That's what came into.
That's beautiful. No.
And go ahead.
Oh no, go on.
And then came in a man was sent to teach you how to live.
A man was sent.
Yeah.
Who was this man?
They said Christ, whatever. I have a different opinion, but that's what came into my being.
You're going to have to explain that a little bit more, because the man that you claim may be different to the man that I follow.
Yes.
Then there may be a clash between the two men.
Yeah.
And if those two men are the greatest spiritual beings who have understood this spiritual being the most, if they are a guide, and we find that they differ on these fundamental issues, there's a problem. Because if they are both claiming to be from that source, but one saying...
Which one is right, which one is wrong? Exactly.
So
that's my...
Is that your question to me? No, I can give you an answer.
But I can understand that. Because for me...
Let me put it like this, right? Imagine one man claims to be from this source and says that this source has told him that it is good to worship the source in the form of the human genitalia, the penis, for instance. I'm going to come up with something vulgar just so that it really rams it home. And another man says, well, I'm also receiving revelation from that source, or I'm also receiving inspiration from that source. And that source has told me that worshipping that source as anything from creation, let alone the human genitalia or the dung or something disgusting, is the greatest crime against him. How do we know which one is right and which one is wrong?
Then we have to look within ourselves.
No. But how can we do that? What's your name, by the way?
Sorry?
What's your name? Melville.
Yes.
Hamza.
Pleased to meet you. In our heart, yeah. Or in our soul. I wouldn't say in our heart. In our soul. Yeah. Our soul can tell us.
But Melvin, look at this. extend that now. Imagine that one guy who says that it's permissible to worship the source, this creator, in the form of the human genitalia. Imagine he has 200 million followers. Just example, right?
Yeah.
And they all believe that's true. And you have the other source that also has 200 million followers who believe that what he's saying is true. It goes beyond now just a case of...
At the end of the day, each individual has to look within themselves, listening to the two sources that have the same amount of followers.
Yep.
People on this planet like to be led by others.
Okay.
They find it difficult, not difficult, it's easier to follow those that has the many than those that has the few.
Okay, that's appreciated.
So the only way that we can tell the difference, going back to what I said, look within ourselves, and we have to then find that source of creation that is in us.
But you're missing the fundamental...
I hear what you're saying.
Here's the fundamental question. With the source, which one is true and which one is false? And are there any consequences for that?
There is always consequences.
Good.
Whether it's wrong or whether it's right.
Right. So how do we know now? How do we know what is right and what is wrong without there being some type of way of determining between those two people and their 200 million followers which one is true and which one is false?
Going back to what I said, we have to look within ourselves as an individual.
But what if we end up committing ourselves to one side believing it's true and we go back to the source? Are we going to be held to account, or is it irrelevant?
No. We have to
Excellent.
be held to account.
We have to be held to account.
Even for our own thoughts.
Okay. So what if the consequences of being held to account is eternal damnation and eternal salvation?
Live with your consequences. You have to live with that.
No. But what if you're saying you live with your consequences? What if the consequences are you being tortured and punished for an eternity?
How do you know that?
It's a hypothetical.
Exactly.
I'm trying to put across to you the idea that if you're restricting it to only yourself, that your heart determines what is right and what is wrong, but there are clear truths out there telling you that the path that your heart is telling you is true is actually false and it's obvious, then how can you face the source? How can you, forget the source, how can you say to yourself, I'm going to live by this falsehood, despite there being clear truths out there that what your heart's apparently telling you is not false?
You know what? I live by my heart, by my being, by that thing inside of me that tells me which is right or wrong. I question myself all the time. We as a human being have the ability to do that, but a lot of us choose not to. We choose to follow, whether it's wrong or right. It's much easier to follow than to question yourself.
Questioning is a fundamental...
And that is the truth of everything. If you don't question what you hear...
And then when you question it and the truth becomes obvious, should you as a person be sincere to the truth and follow it?
Of course.
Brilliant.
Okay, but that's what I live. That's what I live by. I'll tell you something. I have died in this life. You see my legs? I have difficulty in walking. So every morning, every night, I have to give thanks that I am able to sleep. When I get up in the morning, I give thanks that I'm able to get up, because I am not sure whether I'm going to make it
to the next day. Yes. Melvin, what you're describing is very, very close to what Islam describes. Islam said that human beings have been given a singular purpose in life. And that singular purpose, Melvin, is our being thankful for every small bit of blessing that we take such granted for. We take these blessings with such grantedness that many of us don't even turn around and thank the source that give us these blessings.
I live as if each day is my last day on this planet.
You know, when we Muslims, when we pray, we remind ourselves that this may be the last prayer. So oftentimes we say, pray as if this is your last prayer. And the prayer is the prayer that all the prophets and messengers that were sent by the source came to teach human beings. And you know what they said? Melvin, just very quickly. They said that only the source is worthy of being worshipped. Nothing from creation is worthy of being worshipped. If you find a human being who's claiming that the source is all powerful, the source is necessary, we're all dependent upon the source, but we worship a man or a monkey or a human genitalia or a rat or a cow, that source is, those prophets and messengers are saying that is the greatest crime against God.
Well, I didn't read anything
to know that.
I look within myself because the Creator is in me.
Have you heard of
in everything? Yeah. So when I want to know anything at certain time in the night and in the day, I find myself asking a question.
Amazing.
And the answer is revealed. I question the answer.
Melvin,
several times.
What you're describing that is within you, do you believe that what is within you also exists as a potential in all other human beings on this earth?
It exists. That's a stupid question. I'm sorry.
I know it's rhetorical because I know you're going to say yes. And my
my
next point is as follows.
It's even in those leaves.
My next point is as follows. Our Prophet Muhammad said that every child is born upon what's known in Arabic as, and I want you to try and remember this word, the fitra.
What does it?
Have you heard this word before? No.
I've heard of it, but
the fitra is that primordial state of a belief in that spiritual being, as you call it, that spiritual being, the creator of all things, the sustainer, the nourisher. That fitra forces human beings towards the transcendent.
Okay.
To believe in him.
I asked a female friend of mine.
So just very quickly, not just to belief is not enough. You have to acknowledge the Creator.
You have to
live it. But the living has to be defined not by us, but by the Creator.
You have to live it by us.
Why do you find that? Why did you shake your head? Why did you find it difficult to go beyond that?
I don't find it difficult to go beyond that. What I find difficult is that we don't know whether we are doing the right thing by the Creator. We could only go by what we feel. Most people.
What would convince you?
Most people go by what other people say.
Okay, but what would convince you that the Creator that is claiming certain truths? What would convince you that this Creator has communicated with us?
So there is. My friend. What would convince me is here, my spirit, my spiritual being.
Sure, but the way
that's my conviction.
Sure, but the way you worship this Creator, the way you give thanks, right? Who has a greater right of determining how to give thanks? You or the Creator? Remember, the Creator implanted within you the spirituality of giving thanks to Him. Why would He implant this obvious natural instinct within every human being to want to give thanks and not tell these human beings how to give thanks to Him? You have a mother and father.
Remember what I said to you earlier on? What I said to you earlier on is that I was driving down and I came close to killing someone, and then what stays with me is the fact that what stays with me, how to kill someone and what happens, and then something came inside of me 20 years later. The simplest thing is the hardest thing for a man to understand, that humility and understanding is what we need for each other.
But the greatest right upon you, before anyone else, before you establish your sincerity and your feelings and your good deeds towards your fellow man, is to firstly give it towards the Creator. Because your fellow man, no matter how loving they are towards you and no matter how you love them, they don't have a right that is greater than his right.
No one has a right, number one.
No. Don't say that, Melvin.
No one has a right.
You believe human beings have to have rights, because you said that instinctually within you know how to behave towards your fellow man, and the fellow man knows how to behave towards you. So these are rights that people are establishing.
Okay.
So for instance, I'll give you your example against you. You said that you came to a point in life where you were about to murder someone, but that instinct within you, that fitra in you, told you that no, this is not good. So you recognize the right of the human being, that it is impermissible for you to take the life of that person. Rights are an obvious thing you have to recognize.
So now, where does that right came from?
No, that's not the question. The question is, who has the greatest right on you? That thing, or the human being that you decided 20 years ago not to kill? Or any human being. Melvin, any human being. Your wife, your children, your mother or father.
Is that innate thing that was given to every living thing come from the Creator?
Yes. So what did the Creator? How did the Creator tell you to worship Him?
Be honest and truthful, and be as fair as you would have it done unto you.
Okay. So you be honest towards the Creator.
First, be honest to yourself.
No. We've already gone past that, Melvin.
No.
Are you rejecting the fact that the Creator doesn't? Sorry, go on.
Once you are honest and be fair to yourself, you're also being honest and fair to the Creator.
How?
By being truthful to yourself, by knowing what's in you is right and wrong,
Melvin.
by knowing it came from the Creator.
Sure. But Melvin, you being right to yourself is you establishing the rights for yourself. I'm asking about the rights of the Creator.
The rights for yourself is also the rights for the Creator, because it's an innate thing within every living thing.
But Melvin, you're not the Creator. So your rights cannot extend to the Creator unless you claim that you are the Creator.
You see, you're missing what I'm trying to say.
No, I trust me, I've heard this argument before,
really,
so I'm just extrapolating. You said to me, let me repeat what you said to me. You said to me that me establishing my own rights is my establishment of his rights.
Right.
But that can't be true.
Where does your right come from?
Wait. You've already pointed to a being outside of yourself. Yeah. So you being right to yourself, how are you right to yourself? Tell me.
The being outside of yourself is in you.
Don't you
think so?
That means you are God. The being inside you. Look. If you are claiming that the being inside you is a godly directive,
it is.
Then you have to tell me, is this godly directive the God itself? Is He inside you, and therefore are you God?
The Creator, part of the Creator, yes, is in you.
No, not part of it.
Okay,
because
all of it is in you.
Okay.
You. Okay.
Now then.
Sorry.
Given that He is in you, this Creator is in you, right? How do you know that what you're doing is right?
Only until the end we will know whether it's right or wrong.
It might be too late then, Melvin.
It doesn't matter.
And what we're telling you is that if you are wrong, there may be consequences to this wrong.
If you're right, there's consequences.
No.
If you're wrong, there's consequences.
But Melvin, no one lives life like that. If I told you, Melvin, don't go down there because there's a lion in the field, or there's a lion roaming around in Hyde Park, you wouldn't say to me, I don't care. We're going to suffer the consequences. You're going to be honest with yourself and say, really? I want to run in that direction.
I'll tell you something.
Do you understand the point?
Yeah. I used to walk the street late at night when I was younger, and I would walk the main road, and then in the night, and on the way, I'm thinking, take a shortcut to go home. And you know what always comes in me? Don't take a shortcut. Walk the main road. 4 times I took the shortcut, and there's always trouble.
Yep.
When I follow my first thought,
right,
take the main road,
right,
it's a longer road.
So since that
it's a longer road.
Exactly. So since that first thought was the thought from God, why didn't He tell you that is wrong?
Didn't tell me it's no. It did. The creator did.
But you what? You decided to ignore it?
I decided to ignore it.
Okay, so you just acknowledged that the.
So what I did. Sorry.
No, so I was just looking
I
at.
decided to take the main road
Okay.
from then on.
From then on in. Okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been better for you to have taken the shortcut
Of course.
the first time round,
Of course.
right? Or the main road the first
Yeah.
time round, I should say. Sorry, because you don't want to take the shortcut, do you?
Exactly.
Right.
Because I want to get home quickly.
Right. So my point here is as follows: if it can be proven to you that Islam is the truth from God, and it aligns with all your instincts, but it's also correcting this idea that God is in you, and by being good to yourself, you're being good to God, without being able to prove to yourself, Melvin, that this really is good.
You're looking at it from being good to yourself.
But I have to, because why? If there's 20 million Melvins who think the same way, and there's 20 million non-Melvins who think the opposite way, who's right and who's wrong? So it goes, Melvin, just 1 second. It goes back to the original point I was making. So whether you, just 1 second, whether you keep it singular to Melvin, whether you multiply it to 20 million people on one side and 20 million people on the other, it still comes to the same point. How do you know ultimately that what you're doing in life is right without this being telling you?
You're looking at it as if I'm being good to myself. Singular.
Now you're trying to be full of philosophical.
No. I'm not trying anything. Because when you use the word that when I'm being good to myself, that's what I thought, that's how you are looking at it. I'm looking at it on a singular plane.
Okay, but
I am not.
How? Okay, whether you extend
it as an extension.
Yeah.
As an extension.
When you extend it,
as in the self that what you feel, the love that you feel for yourself is the love that you feel for your family.
Okay, so the 20 million people who believe that God should be worshipped in the form of a human genitalia, and the 20 million people who believe that that is wrong.
That's their problem. You can't deal with others.
Why would God not communicate and tell us what is right and what is wrong regarding Himself?
I tell you.
We do it to ourselves. For instance,
you just said it.
No, me saying it just proves my point, Melvin. Your mother, for instance, if she wants you to behave in a particular way, she'll tell you, Melvin, don't do this. I want you to behave in this way and not the other way. You may disagree with your mum, but you're not going to say, Mum, you know what? As long as you're happy with it, I'll obey what you're telling me. That's you recognizing, even though you disagree with your mum, recognizing her right to what she believes is happiness, right? Does that make sense so far?
It makes sense to a lot of people. To me, my mom and I, we have a complete